It's Thursday Live, and I want to welcome you to it. We are getting started just a couple of minutes late here. We had a technical glitch, but thankfully it was just a couple of minutes, and I do celebrate and express my gratitude towards and express my appreciation towards all of our team that makes this thing possible every week. And just so you know, we love Thursday Live, as I know so many of you do. And so we've been researching and we're making investments in some new equipment that can maybe make it a little bit better quality, less snafu potentials, and always trying to make it better so that we can communicate with you and make sure that we're always staying connected. If there's one thing that the last year's taught us is this is the one way, no matter what's going on in our world, that we can stay connected, gather together, encourage each other, and affirm each other. And I'd love to know where you're at as you celebrate Thursday Live with us. And in fact, I thought about this. I wanted to say hi. I'm going to be looking over because I'm monitoring my Facebook Live, and I just want to say a big hey to all of you watching Thursday Live. I see Norma and Terry and Danette and I see Nora, and let's see, Judy. I want to say hi to you, Sanda and Mark, and it's going pretty fast. But Ray Finnemore, good to see you, Ray, and Jennifer Ampram Wolf, good to see you. Thanks for joining, and all of you. And I'm going to be looking over here occasionally, but I'm kind of curious. This is a weird question. Part of the charm of Thursday Live is that we get to know each other kind of more behind the scenes. This isn't a front stage platform forum. This is more of a backstage. Got my fireplace behind me here. Sometimes I'm in my office. Sometimes I'm wandering around the church, but it's more backstage. It's certainly not rehearsed at all. And what it is what it is. But I have a particular bent in me. I don't prefer to eat at 8, 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. I'm not like some of you who eat at 4:30 in the afternoon or 5 p.m. I've been told that the older someone gets, the earlier they eat, but I don't think that's going to happen with me. But I don't like to eat as late as 8:30 and 9, generally speaking. But I don't like to eat before Thursday Live. I don't like to eat before I give a talk on the weekend. I just don't like to eat before I communicate this way. But I did tonight. And so we had, of all things, cauliflower pizza. And if you've never heard of that, if you are more low carb, maybe a keto-esque diet, cauliflower crusted pizza is wonderful. And that's what we had. I'd be curious, how many of you ate already and you're watching Thursday Live after you've eaten? How many of you will eat after Thursday Live? And I guess there's a third category. How many of you are eating during Thursday Live? And that's a good way to spend your dinner, right? And so I just curious, and as I go through your different replies, it'll be interesting. Yum, love cauliflower pizza. No kidding, Heather, right? And we have some people from Ray's eating now. Good for you, Ray. That's terrific. And Noelle is she's already eaten, it looks like, and before for sure. Yeah, so I get it. But this is just about getting to know each other and spending some time together, encouraging each other. And I want to welcome you to Thursday Live. If this is your first one, it usually doesn't get much deeper than this, talking about what you're eating. That's not true. It's a spiritual breakaway moment. It's, the Northridge family connecting, and anyone who can be encouraged as the Northridge family connects. And it all began way back when we had to put a pause on our services in person, and we wanted to stay connected. And so here we are. And now, though we're meeting in person, it's just a midweek pleasure to do this. And hey, how about the beautiful state of Michigan? Once again, not disappointing. I just around Easter time was looking in Time Hop's an app on the phone that kind of takes you back in your past social media posts and pictures and personal things. And I kept seeing these pictures of big snowfalls that we had, around Easter time and all of that. And man, we were having such great weather in Michigan for a while in the 70s. It was unbelievable. I was thinking, not this year. Wrong. So here we are, post Easter to almost May, and Michigan did it for us. We got a snow. So I'd be curious, hands up, how many of you, yay, it snowed, and how many of you maybe had to beg God forgiveness for some of your language as it relates to snow. And just kind of another fun thing about Michigan. Yeah, Michigan snow, really? Oh, yeah. Natalie, I think Natalie is in Arizona. Isn't that right, Natalie? And you're saying Michigan snow, really? Yeah, don't rub that in to everybody in Michigan. But, and then I've got someone advertising for Jets. Jets is pretty good. So, Jets Pizza. Yeah, they do have I've heard that Jets has a cauliflower pizza. It's pretty high in carbs, though, if you look at it. Roxanne and I get our cauliflower pizza almost always from Costco, speaking of advertising, and they've got a really good one. And then we add some mozzarella to it and some vegetables at times and maybe some pepperoni. So there we are. All right, I want to get to our connection, and as always, I'd love to tell you some positive things that are going on at Northridge. And the one thing, not the one thing, one of the many things that we have learned during the last year is that God is true to his promises and can and is working good even out of bad. And that's happened during this COVID experience. And I just want to prop up and celebrate and say attaboy and attagal to all of our student ministry leads and volunteers and student ministry students, because our student ministry area has been growing during this COVID experience, which is really, really neat. Since January, it's really grown quantitatively in numbers. We have over 50 growth in our Sunday night attendance alone. We've had over 40 brand new students step in to Northridge Student Ministries, and that's just exciting during COVID. And imagine what's going to happen as the pandemic winds down more and more and more. I know right now we're experiencing a little bit of a moment in Michigan, but it's winding down. It looks like things are looking good. Imagine the growth that's going to happen as these students are able to reach their friends, bring them in, and we're able to experience that. And just so you know, this last Sunday night, they had a wake night event, and they had over 200 in attendance, and that's phenomenal. But even more important, 15 students committed their lives or recommitted their lives to Jesus, and they had 10 first-time visitors in attendance. And so I'm just really proud of our student ministries and all of our ministries who are engaging our mission in this season, in this moment. Also, this is really, as someone who loves Northridge, and just know this, I love the Church of Jesus Christ by any name in any place that truly does hold up God's word and try to remain true to it, and loves Jesus and wants to lead people to Jesus and to worship him and to follow him and to grow in him. And so I'm all about the church all around the world and celebrate it. But God's called me to Northridge and us to Northridge, many of us. And I'm proud of it. And in January and February, Northridge Church and we didn't submit anything or anything, and we were nominated as one of the top 3 finalists in the category of Best Place to Worship in the Free Press Best of Detroit 2020 series. So Detroit Free Press. And then we said, well, we're nominated. Why not get you guys voting? It was all about people responding and saying, yeah, I'm proud there. I love to worship there. So we asked you to vote. And this week we received notification that we were selected as the best place to worship in the Detroit metropolitan area. And I want to thank you for embracing your church family, your church ministry, for digging in that way. That's really neat. And there were a lot of great churches involved, and I celebrate any church that worships Jesus, and so congrats to them too. But that's pretty neat. Also, just want to tell you that we haven't in a really long time done a Discover Northridge. And for those of you who might be newer, Discover Northridge is it's kind of a personal part of my ministry. I mean, I've been here now 30 years, and I came and I realized that a lot of people coming into the church didn't get why we did church the way we were doing it. They didn't even know. There were some people who would come to our church because they liked it and it was fun and they learned and they grew. But then they went to their own church because they felt guilty because going to Northridge didn't feel like church to them and all that. And so they didn't understand what church was supposed to be, that God outlined it and what it was supposed to accomplish. And so I started this thing called Discover Northridge, just a place where I could share what Jesus has done for us, what we can experience in following him, and then how we as a church try and support you, whoever you are, wherever you're at in your spiritual journey, to get to know Jesus better or for the very first time. And because of the pandemic and all of that, we haven't done it because we like to do it in person and live. And as we were starting to do in person, I decided, let's do another Discover Northridge. A bunch of people are waiting, chomping at the bit for it. So we announced it. And then because of this uptick a little bit with what's going on with COVID, we found a lot of people were still hesitating. And we found this with our in-person church as well. A lot of you are coming back, and we celebrate that. But there are a lot of us in Michigan who, I mean, our whole psyche has been impacted, and it's just a very difficult thing to step out of the comfort of where we are or the routines that we've established, watching church online and everything, and go back in person. And so we didn't have a ton of signups for Discover Northridge, and we decided, we get it, there's some fear going on, some things are happening with COVID right now, so people are probably hesitant. And we decided for the first time ever to do Discover Northridge virtually. We're actually doing it via Zoom tomorrow night. And it's the first time ever. And as soon as we announced that, boom, the attendance and signups jumped significantly. And I appreciate you all signing up. You still have time since it's on Zoom. All you have to do is go to northridgechurch.com/discover, and you can sign up for that. It's going to be tomorrow at 7:16. As easy as putting your sweats on or your PJs on and turning on Zoom, and you can even use virtual backgrounds if you want. There's going to be, so many people in there, you won't be seen very much, but I'll be sharing with you Discover Northridge, and so that's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow night. I hope a lot of you would join us in that. And again, just go to northridgechurch.com/discover. All right? The real meat of Thursday Live, if we ever get to meet, after talking about food and times to eat and snow and those kind of things. And it's okay to be relationally connected, right? It's okay to have fun together. You don't always have to be so super serious. But the real point is to make sure we break away from all the things pressing in on us. And we remind ourselves about Jesus and his promises. And we look at some spiritual thoughts that can help us grow. One of the things that I like doing on Thursday Live is I like challenging maybe the reasons we're not growing or some of the things keeping us from knowing the promises of Jesus more. And this week I'm going to do just that. In fact, I'm going to kind of pull it from Romans chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. And I'll read the verse and then I'll kind of share my thoughts on it. The book of Romans is all about what God has provided in Jesus. I mean, what God has made possible for us to have new life, not to be owned by guilt, not to allow failure to be final, but by the grace of Jesus dying on the cross and raising again. He's made it possible for us to experience everything God created us to experience, a relationship with him, his promises in our life, fullness in life, and all of that. And then Romans chapter 12 says, therefore, because of what God has provided for us, Jesus gave his life for us to make it possible for us to have new life. Therefore, verse 1, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, in view of the grace that he has given to us, I urge you to offer your bodies now to him as a living sacrifice. Give up your life to him, holy and pleasing to God. And this is true and proper worship. Not singing, though you can worship through song. Not speaking words of worship, though you can certainly worship that way. But true worship is when in response to Jesus' grace to us, we give our whole lives to him. We give our dreams to him for his dreams for us. We give our will to him so that we can experience and live out his will for us and in this world. And then he says, do not conform to the pattern of this world, which is about living for your own dreams, your own goals, your own way, doing your own thing, living selfishly instead of sacrificing your life to him, giving your life to him. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. When we give ourselves to Christ in response to his grace to us, he can renew our minds, reshape everything in us and about us. And then it says, and when you experience this, when you give yourself as a sacrifice to him in response to his grace, and you don't conform to the pattern of selfishness of this world, but you let him renew your mind, then you'll be able to test and approve, to experience, to demonstrate what God's will really is: good, pleasing, and perfect. And so that's a power-packed 2 verses, but here's the truth that I want you to realize that so many really don't. The truth is that Christianity demands, in the end, following Jesus, if we're really going to follow Jesus, it demands forsaking our will for Christ's will. It demands forsaking what we want and our dreams and our agenda for what Christ wants, for his dreams for us, for his agenda. It's about, as Jesus taught us to pray in the Lord's Prayer, not my kingdom come, not my will be done. That's conforming to the pattern of this world, but your kingdom come, God. Your will be done. I'm surrendering what I want to build for myself to you so that I can be a part of what you want to build. And I'm giving myself to you, just as Jesus gave himself for us. Jesus is a great example of this in the garden. Just before he went to the cross, he was suffering because he knew the sin he was going to carry and what he was going to experience. And the Father was going to turn his head on him, and he was going to say, why have you forsaken me, Father? I mean, he knew what he was going to experience. And he was saying, I don't want to do it. If there's anything else, any other way we can do this, let me know. But then he said, but not my will, your will be done, God. That's the example. If we're going to follow Jesus, we have to say, not my goals, but your goals, not my will, but your will, not my kingdom, but your kingdom, not what I want to build, but what you want to build, not what I want to do, not what I want to receive, not what I want to accomplish, but I want what you want to do, and you want me to receive, and you want me to accomplish, God. And I have to tell you, this issue, for me, I imagine for you, but for me, this is the great obstacle of becoming a fully formed follower of Jesus. For me, this is the great obstacle for becoming as useful as I am called to be to God's purposes and God's kingdom. Because I hold back part of myself, and I try and, even use his promises and his truth and his strength and his power and his redemption and the freedom he's given me for, maybe maximizing my own advantages. It's just very human. That way I'm conforming to the world instead of letting him renew my mind. And so I have to ask myself a question that I'll just share with you, and maybe this is a question that'll help you, and maybe you don't have an issue with this. I doubt that, but maybe. Here's the question that I have to ask myself so that I can make sure I'm genuinely following Jesus, not just speaking it, not just creating the image of it, but really following Jesus and experiencing his fullness. Here's the question. Am I using Jesus to become what I hope to become? Or am I giving my life to Jesus in order to become whatever it is he wants me to become? And there's a big difference between those two. If you've followed my teaching for any amount of time, you've heard me talk about many people turn to Jesus as if he's the genie in the lamp, and all they have to do is rub the lamp, pray a little, give a little, and he grants them their wishes. That's what it's like to use Jesus to become what you want to be, to get Jesus to do what you want him to do. But truly following Jesus is letting Jesus use us to become whatever he wants us to become. And that's that's what I want Northridge to encourage in the life of all of us who attend and worship there. And I want Northridge to be a place that encourages us to understand that though giving our dreams away feels unnatural and wrong, feels like a loss, when in response to Jesus' grace to us, we're giving our dreams away to Him, or giving our goals away to Him, or giving even our comfort or whatever away to Him, feels like a loss, it's a gain. It's not even close. It's a gain. And we miss out on the fullness of Christ because we hold on to that which we think is going to give us fullness, but it never does and never will. Our dreams, our agenda, our material possessions. And when we learn to let go and say, like Paul said, therefore, in response to his grace, offer your bodies as living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is true and proper worship. Don't conform to the pattern of this world, holding on, selfishly holding on, but be transformed. Let Him renew your mind, because your joy and your happiness, your peace, contentment is not going to come by the stuff you hold on to. It's going to come from Jesus, and you can only receive Him fully as you open yourself fully. Then you'll be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, perfect will. That's why Jesus taught us to pray, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And so that's what I want to do right now with you. I'm just so grateful that you joined with me Thursday Live. And whether you've eaten, you're now eating, or you're yet going to eat, whether you love the snow or don't love the snow, or wherever you are in the world, thank you for connecting with me. But let's together right now, as we end this Thursday Live, just pray together that issue. Your kingdom come, Jesus, your will be done in my life on earth as it is in heaven. Okay, let me pray for you. Father, thank you so much for what Jesus has done, as laid out so clearly in Romans chapter 1 all the way through chapter 10 and chapter 11. And then in response to that, what Paul said is so true. In response to your grace, your sacrificial giving, the only way we can receive the fullness of it is as we pour out and sacrifice all that we are to you, so that you can fill us with all you are and want us to be. And it's hard, God. It's hard to not try and use your promises and your faith to get what we want. It's hard not to press on you and push for our agenda. And it's hard not to get upset with you when that doesn't match your will and your want for us in this season, this moment. But God, I just pray that you'd help us, as Jesus taught us to pray, to mean it and to pray it and to live it. Your kingdom come, your will be done in our lives on earth as it is in heaven. Help us with Jesus say, not my will. We have a will. We have an agenda. We have goals. We have dreams. We have things we want. And they may fit into your plans. They may not. But we have to give them to you, whether they're what you want for us or not. Not our will, but your will be done. And help us to experience your fullness as a result. Help Northridge be a place where people wake up to Jesus and the reality that giving our lives to Him is not a loss, but it's a gain. And help us to live it out and experience it together. And we'll thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, all right. Thank you so much for joining me on this Thursday Live. Don't forget this weekend, we are continuing in our On God series. I'm very, very excited about the focus of this weekend. Don't miss it. I hope that you can gather in person at Northridge Grosse Ile. Hey, everybody from Northridge Grosse Ile, or Northridge Brighton. Hey, everybody from Brighton and Northridge Plymouth. Hope you can gather in person at one of our campuses. But if not, or if you've chosen not to yet, please connect with us online. And wherever you are, remember, when we get together, we're gathering in Jesus' name. And I hope you'll be praying for me, because I'm praying for you. Can't wait to see you this weekend, either online or in person. And don't forget, next week we're going to do this all over again, Thursday Live. Thanks, everybody.